If you like our content about training, then you'll love our programming too. Head to the notes below to grab a free week of general physical preparation. You get unlimited access to me and fresh programming every single week for less than $1 a day.
I had my niece's baptism yesterday. So I'm just going
nice.
Yeah. So that was funny, getting the fan back in the church again. That was a bit of a throwback. It was just funny because the priest, being a Catholic is all about knowing when to sit and stand at the right time in Mass. And the priest, he called everyone to start to kick off the baptism, and literally no one fucking responded. It's Saturday. We have jobs. Everyone was just so stoked that they got themselves there on time that I nearly fucking lost it, but I managed to keep it together. But that was nice. It's just, man, it's really started to hit me that, like, just because, like, obviously my brother has a kid, like that's just a new dynamic in my family. And it's just really sort of sunk in, like, because I've been feeling it, but like identifying what the feeling is. Like, obviously I love my niece, but it's like, I keep thinking about it's like my brother has started a family, but this is the first time, I have said it before on the podcast, it's the first time my family's grown since I was born. So I haven't experienced an addition to the family. It's
and how's that
nice.
been?
Yeah. It just gets better and better because obviously in the baby stage, I was relevant. It was also in the middle of shutdown. It was actually kind of sad. I missed, like, I saw Quinn 3 times in her first 12 months. Obviously people like went through way more horrible shit than that. But even that, like, how many ways can I interact with the baby? Whereas it's just like, you know, when Quinn's a teenager, that's when I can really be cool. But obviously now that she's a 3-year-old, like, she's just so chatty and, like, I don't know, just likes making people laugh. And yeah, it's cool. Anyway, this is interesting for other people, actually. I just realised I hate when people talk about this crap. It was just meant to be a funny anecdote.
That was wholesome stuff.
But because what the thing was, like, just like I have been e-com gooning at so many family events. Obviously, I released the organic content e-commerce guide.
For the non-Zoomers in the audience, gooning means really loving in the more appropriate terms.
No, it's just what the kids are calling edging these days, and it's heaps funny because
edging is still.
I saw it in a meme, and like I understood vaguely what it meant based on the context that it was used in. But I was just like, I looked into it. I was like, oh, it explicitly means edging. I knew it was like excitement, and like I associated with like edge-like activities, like things that are compulsive and stuff like that. But then I tried to drop it in a conversation to Jacob because, like, I perceive that there's a generation gap between me and Jacob, but there's not really. How old are you again?
When
I say generation gap,
24.
I more mean just like in terms of like social media fucking eras. What'd you say?
Yeah, I'm 24.
He's funny. Jacob didn't know what it was either.
Yeah, no, because I've been a bit at the loop, picking up this new gig for PTing. So I think that's quite new. This new gooning word. So
you don't have time for gooning. You're on the gym floor until 10 p.m. on a Friday night. That's fucking astounding.
Yeah.
It honestly makes me so proud because obviously I respect you for what you've done in the online space. And I know you're a good coach, but yeah, I just forget how much you're on the face-to-face grind simultaneously. Because you know that I value and respect that a lot. And you see it as a necessary part of the process too.
I think so, yeah.
A worthwhile part of the process. Not necessary because you could go full
I was also dipping my toes into it. But yeah, I just thought I'd really go full ball. And, you know, I didn't really do any education for a while. And then I did some education, which I know you hate, but I just wanted to get my love back into the whole sciencey part of it.
There's just so much to do and so much to immerse yourself in. Obviously, you just need more time to do it all.
Yeah, exactly.
So much.
Getting my hands dirty and
But back to ecom gooning at family events. So what I'll do if I've got like a long fucking family lunch coming up or something that could be potentially just talking to a bunch of people that I haven't seen in fucking years. I don't have a big extended family. It's kind of like the only thing that brings us together is funerals or now events for Quinn, which is actually nice because I've got someone there that I care about outside of like my immediate family that I see all the time and actually have relationships with. But so what I'll do is I'll put on a bit of a sale before I sit down for the family lunch or something like that. And then obviously I'm just making money the whole way through it, like the phone's vibrating in the pocket, dopamine's absolutely buzzing. I hit a crazy one over Christmas lunch. I put the bundle price for rotation, restoration, and Armageddon because normally they're $40 each or $60 for the bundle, but I put the bundle price down to $40 and I banked like $1,000 over Christmas lunch.
Fuck.
Which is just like, absolutely, obviously, like that was when I was really in a building phase because that was before my first return trip back to Europe, sort of at the precipice of, in the first couple of months of me going fully online, which obviously that didn't pay for everything, but yeah, quite a buzz. But yeah, that was my biggest one. So the other one I did, it wasn't a sale, but when I flew from London to New York, I think we just dropped a podcast episode and I managed to get pleb business class, like a 3-seater to myself flying transatlantic. So I cooked an 8-hour sleep going London from New York and I touched down. I made $300 off Armageddon.
Wait, so you just slept the whole flight?
Yeah, it was insane. I fully got woken up being like, oh, we're about to touch down. You need to upright yourself and put your seatbelt on.
Damn.
Unbelievable. Both times I've gone transatlantic, I've got the 3-seater to myself because I did it the first time I went to Europe. I missed my flight home and had to rebook it and ended up going back via San Fran. But then, so I don't know what's to go with transatlantic flights, if they're just uncrowded at the moment or if I've just got lucky on those.
Yeah, maybe. But what did you sell? Did you sell anything this time
I hit $400 during the baptism, but it was sort of like the momentum. So because I launched it pretty much like 20 hours before the baptism. So it was all the posts were just sort of hitting the tail end of their sort of running the algorithm. So what is this? Absolutely sizzling. and again, so we'll talk.
Why at a family event? Is it like not to flex, or is it just?
I'll do it. And like I said, whether it's a long haul flight, a family event, or just something, just a little bit of ecom gooning just makes the time fly by, whether you're conscious or not, or just like, sorry, again, like I wrote this content and ecom guide. Like I'm very passionate about good coaches being able to spread their ideas, but then there is just like, the lifestyle experiences I've had off the back of content creation. And yeah, I just want to sort of share those opportunities with good coaches and stuff who were like willing to put in the work. But like I said, they just don't understand the whole medium is the message thing, lack the sort of frameworks and processes to actually be consistent and stuff like that. Like I just, because I even I was thinking about it earlier tonight, people talk about how I always feel guilty because the first thing I do as soon as my eyes open every single morning is I check my phone. And I have this guilt about it because people, all the holistic coaches are talking about like, they don't look at my fucking emails or my phone, no blue light until fucking midday. It's all just fucking rising suns and shit like that. But why I do it, first thing, I check how many fucking likes are coming in. And it's usually a lot. And that's a great start to the day. And then I'll check how much money I made in my sleep. And I just want more people to experience that. Like, it's like I'm not driving a Lambo or anything like that, but that is a sick feeling for any human to experience. Even what I shared in my story tonight. What's a bit deeper and more important than that is saying something or expressing any sort of idea and that resonating with people, like whether it's making people laugh at a party or whether it's making a post on Instagram and just a bunch of people being like, "Fuck yeah!" Like it's nice, and you shouldn't hold your whole identity on that, but you shouldn't hold your whole identity on anything. And this is something, like I said, that I just think a lot of people think that they can't do, and or they don't want to do it because they think that there's a certain way that it has to be done, and they find it cringe, or they think that they can't be their authentic self and be successful on social media simultaneously. And like there is a process you can distill your authentic self through if you're willing to put the reps in. Like I said, people just don't feel like it's tangible the same way that they believe in their ability to grow their quads or their biceps or get stronger because they've experienced it and they understand the processes. Whereas I just feel like with social media, it's luck, or you've got to have a fat ass or whatever it is, or you just got to produce vapid shit that isn't genuinely valuable. But like all those people, like reflect on your own fucking experiences. Like, because this is another lie that's perpetuated. And I talk about this a bit. People are like, you shouldn't do your learning on Instagram. You definitely shouldn't do all your learning on Instagram. Like, I agree with that. But I mean, Instagram has been the start of so many of my fitness rabbit holes. And
For sure.
I mean, just objectively, like I'm talking about some fire shit. Like talk all you want about Angus has no nuance. It's like I'm trying to get coaches to adopt a more qualitative approach to engage with non-linear thinking, such as concepts such as dynamic systems theory and fucking frameworks that we've adapted from economic models because they're just a bit more fucking sophisticated. Everyone's talking about the principle-driven approach, the principles of volume and intensity, and it's like, no, the principles run fucking deeper than that. And how did I fucking get on this rant? I don't know what.
Yeah, wow. I got lost with you too. That was a fucking roller coaster. Where were we?
There was some sort of point about how content creation can be about expressing your authentic self. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is the thing. The smart coaches are like, it's not a worthwhile pursuit because it's just like a money grab or it's just about clout. You can't actually share anything of value in a short social media post. And it's like, you absolutely fucking can. The medium's the message. You just need to become a good content creator. All these people who are like, cooked up this fucking post, there's heaps of nuance, and that's why no one likes it. It's like, no, you made a shit piece of content. And a good piece of content, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, whether it's a good idea, whether it's a dumb idea. Good and bad content is a separate fucking thing from that. And as soon as you understand, and again, this is why why is functional patterns so successful? It's like they make the fucking content, they create the communities and the products and the fucking the code. So one last thing just to wrap this up because we need to talk about the Olympics and we don't have much time today. Developing digital products is so important. Again, more so than making money, because I think a lot of smaller creators, coaches with smaller followings, they run the microeconomics of it in their head. Like if I release a product, even if it was the most fire shit ever, like could I even sell 20 of them? And then thinking about, so how much could I make off that? It's like, oh, maybe I'll make $1,000 off the product. But it's like, well, they're probably making like $2,000 a week off face-to-face coaching. So is that really impactful in their business when it takes so much effort to make content consistently and develop these products and stuff like that? But especially online, and this still works, it's also applicable face-to-face. It works sort of both ways. It's just about bridging the gap. People don't think about the customer journey. It's like 99% of coach, I never understood this, but it's true, 99% of coaches are selling to the 1%. Because think about the mechanics of your head. Can't test this out with Harvey, but Jacob, how many coaches do you follow that you just fucking worship on Instagram? You think they're just the sickest cunts and you like all their posts? And
probably like a couple. Oh, I'd say, yeah.
Who've inspired you?
Oh, there's heaps, yeah. Inspired me heaps, yeah.
And you love their content?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
How many of them would you reach out to for one-to-one coaching? I mean, none, because you haven't hired any of them, have you?
No.
Like, you hired, yeah. So like, you can have so many rabid fans who are like, this is fucking fine, but they already have a coach. Or, because it's like, you really got to show your personality and be your authentic self, in my opinion, if you want to be like as successful as possible on social media. And as much as that'll attract people who want to watch you and learn from you, they might not want an intimate coaching relationship with you. Like that's such a fucking specific thing. And people are like, oh, it's all right, I'm in a niche. It's like, no, it's so much more specific than that because there's so many powerlifting coaches out there. There's so many fucking soccer S&C coaches out there. So to the point where people can, and this is the upside of it, when you're your authentic self, you'll attract people who are more like you. It's like they're not just into the same fucking sport. It's like they're into the same dumb video games, or I like video games, just whatever, same dumb shit that you're into. And that's fucking mad. Yeah, anyway. I was meant to talk about. Obviously, there's a lot in this book. Just fucking, I poured my fucking soul into this book. But yeah, just the customer journey is so important.
If you're sick of going goblin mode on the same 4 accessory exercises at the end of every single session, head to the notes below and grab our free gymnastics program. It'll change the way you think about accessories forever.
It creates a logical process where, one, you're no longer just selling to the 99%, but you'll also increase the size of the 1% because you're not going from shaking hands to trying to ask them to come home with you. Okay, that's the nightclub equivalent of thinking someone's going to go from double tapping your content to filling in an inquiry form. It's like you just walk into the club, hottest girl's like, hey, and she's perfect. She's everything you've ever wanted. She's like, will you come home with me? And you're like, how the fuck did this? It might happen once in your life, but your conversion rate This is like doing the spade work, just giving them a free program. It's like here's the other thing. A lot of people, if they actually look up to you, will be scared to reach out to you, especially if you're a bit of a weapon. So it's great to have some products that they can interact with without having to have a conversation, because they might be like, this person doesn't respect me, but I want to learn from them. I want to be coaching them somehow. So like give them some graded exposure, progressive overload. It's all the same fucking shit. You just need the frameworks. All right, let's get into the Olympics, because Shane Thompson got silver. We had the closest 100-meter final in Olympic history. So we had Noah Lyles and Shane Thompson both going 9.79. Then going to the fourth decimal place, Noah Lyles ended up being 4 or 5 thousandth of a second. And it's controversial because it's the chest, what they're looking for. So Shane had his foot on the line before Noah Lyles' chest was over the line. And obviously before Shane's chest was over the line. But and that's just the rules. Like when I learned about that, I was like, I didn't instantly agree with it, but I'm just assuming people have thought about it who are much more experienced than me. And there's a reason why they go the chest over the foot.
Center of mass is first.
Respect. Yeah. And I can get around some respect for the center of mass.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We love that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that caused a bit of controversy, and especially like the Olympics is going to have the most casual track audience. 1500, Jakob Ingebrigtsen got absolutely tooled by everyone, and he got roasted by it. I just want to give Ingebrigtsen a shout out for being the Joker to everyone's Batman. The entire Nguze, Kerr, and Holler. Holler won. Holler, we should have seen. Holler was pointed out as a dark horse heading into this, and what created the circumstances. I don't want to write off Holler's talent and hard work, and he ran a beautiful fucking race. Everyone did in the final, but it was the tactics and the battle between Ingebrigtsen and Kerr that created this crazy opportunity for Holler. They just weren't paying enough attention to him. And we talk about Kerr's kick. Statistically, Holler's the biggest kicker in the game. And we love a kicker here on the Hyperformance podcast. We're big on kicking. Not many people can kick. Kicking is, the more and more I understand about track and high speed running, the more the idea of the way they kick. I can't remember who ran the fucking 400. You can't really call that a kick. His last 100 was disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. This has been a feast of sport. It's on the track, and we'll talk about the breakdancing. I mean, let's just get shout out. One last thing. Shout out to Sydney Levrone McLaughlin. She ran faster than the winner of the 400 in her 400 relay split. She just dominates the hurdles. Wow. I wanted to go full. I wanted to test out, go like a 1-2-4 sort of thing. And also shout out to Shikari. What's the lady who won the 100?
Isn't it Shikari?
Shikari had a better. No, Shikari got second, but Shikari had a phenomenal anchor leg in the women's 4x100 relay. Condolences to US 4x100 men. Again, we'll do a bigger track unpack. I'm just trying to give everyone who hasn't been paying attention what highlights to fucking look up, because the whole track thing's just been insane. Who was the lady who won? Because she was a little bit out of nowhere. She's definitely a beast, and I'm not as well versed. Obviously, I've got my favorites when it comes to female track athletes. Oh, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. There was whatever. We won't get into it now, because unpacking the controversy leading up to the women's 100-meter final, there's just so much to fucking talk about. But let's talk about Reagan, the weapon, the Aussie weapon.
Bang!
I hope her mental health is okay. I need to say that off the bat. But then, because she's getting roasted by a lot of people. But I am not offended. And this is the thing. I just want to say that. And I think if you're offended, you're a bit of a pussy. But it's definitely funny. It's definitely funny. And if you're one of those people trying to say that I can't laugh at this, I mean, she's a 36-year-old woman. I think she's got a lot of great qualities, and I think she does contribute academically and potentially. yeah, and still as a role model in sport, but like even just in her response, like talking about what she went out there to try to do, she just talked about like the creative side of it a lot. And I understand that that is a part of breaking, but in the context, just her as a spokesperson and as a representative in a sport and a representative of a community. I'm trying to not speak too out of turn here because I'm not a representative of the breaking community. And honestly, I don't really give a fuck about it. But no, I do feel bad for him because it's booted, it's out. And this was a test. Like,
wait, is it actually out?
It wasn't in for sure, but this was very much just a test. But it's gone.
It's gone.
It's not in LA. And from what I can
her?
tell, I think you could say that she's a contributing factor. It's not the only thing, but like the rest of it looked pretty fire. I'm not sure if there was anyone else who sort of drew attention for not necessarily being such a high performer.
We need a breakdance
because a lot of people are saying things about her having a go, and the Olympics isn't, to me, about having a go.
100%.
Anyway,
we need the elite of elite.
It was fucking funny. This is the craziest. I've watched a lot of sport. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. It's different to Eric the Eel in a number of ways. It's different to the lady from that African nation that I can't remember who didn't have a bike with her. I want to acknowledge that, what's Raygun's actual name? Like, she's a representative of the Indigenous community from Australia, and that's something that's been brought up. And I value Indigenous representation in sports so much.
I have maybe
that's not relevant. Like, again, I just want to bring up that like that's something that's been brought up about her selection and representation. I'm not sure how much of a factor it was. I just sort of wanted to talk about all aspects of it, acknowledge as many aspects of it that I could, not just that it was fucking hilarious. Like, and hopefully she can. I don't know that she doesn't have a sense of humor about this situation. I'm going to give her my assessment of her, more of a grace period. I've never experienced the backlash of that much humiliation as well. Like, I can't judge her for how she responds to this. But the performance,
I just feel a bit like, yeah, like surely though at this stage, like to get to, like surely she must have like gone through that many stages of like.
How much have you heard about? No, sorry. Okay, I have more information. So again, this is what I'm hearing. I'm not saying that this is actually what it was because I'm suspect that what I've heard is the actual case. But I've tried to do as much digging. I'm a journalist. I try my best. They're saying, and again, trying to build some compassion for her. They're saying like at one point she was the only girl breaking in Australia. And she was experiencing a lot of mistreatment. And I have so much compassion for that.
Okay.
But that's different to going out and being really bad in the Olympics. Sorry, like it's just funny that we can laugh at that. But then also be like, oh, her research is so valuable and the way she is advocates for the community up until she took the stage at the Olympics. Like, because she also, like, I don't know, people will be like, it's fucking woke politics. And I identify as a bit woke. And she was collecting a lot of Athlete of the Year awards. And I'm like, maybe like Person of the Year. Person of the Year. That's bigger. Athlete of the Year? Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
Probably not.
I just feel like that. That's what I mean. Even what you're saying about her being the only girl dancing in Australia, like that's just bullshit.
Yeah,
like
100%.
honest to fucking God.
I'm suspect on that. That's not from her either. Shit. Yeah. Because I also heard apparently she trounced some girl on points. Who is that?
But all I'm saying is that like, I think for Raygun to have gotten to that point, she must have like auditioned or done her thing in front of that many people who went, yep, sick, you are it, you're going to the fucking Olympics. And then she got up there, has like done the thing that she's done in front of this many fucking people who have said, yep, you're the one, and then has been fucking ridiculed for it. I just feel like so many people must have like semi-gaslit her / dropped the ball into being like, that's fucking sick, get up and do it in front of the whole world.
She hasn't been held accountable.
I don't think it's her fault at all.
Yeah. We should talk about that. I agree. Because that makes me feel better about shitting on the whole thing if we can blame other people.
Yeah.
and just laugh about
It's
what she's
absolutely not her fault
No, but
at all.
you can't be that
Like, by the
delusional
same
to think
token,
that
if someone
doing
came to me and was
Yeah.
like, "You have to represent Australia or Scotland in breakdancing," I'd be like, absolutely fucking not. But I'd also be a bit like, well, I mean, if I'm it, I'm it.
Let's go
You
through
know
this.
what I mean? I'm like, maybe I am
let's
amazing
hop
at
in our
this.
imaginary time machines and pretend you're going back to explain to just younger version of yourself, at least 5 years back. You're like, all right, so there's going to be this Aussie at the Olympics and they're going to drop the sprinkler and like kind of impersonate a kangaroo and just like roll around on the floor. The closest thing you have seen before to that is like someone munted on the dance floor just having a go, or like the Homer Simpson running around meme. And people will say that you can't laugh about it. You have to show it respect. I'll be like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, who said that? Sorry.
No, 1,000,000%. But I think we should be laughing. I think we should be laughing at the fucking Australian Olympic Committee and not laughing at her. Or whoever was responsible for choosing her and putting her in this position is who we should be laughing at.
But like, you also have do you have an adult responsibility to not humiliate yourself that hard?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I would never even think that you have to explain to someone. Like,
there's so many eyeballs as well.
She seems pretty intelligent and like she's capable
she has
of
a
living
PhD.
an intentional
She has
life.
some sort of.
It was
some
crazy.
Sort of
It's so intense. It's so intense to do that.
We value your input here at the High Performance Podcast. Head to the SpeakPipe link in the notes below and you can leave us a voicemail where you can ask us a question or leave us a topic for us to explore on the show. We hope to hear from you soon.
What the? It's affected me in a way that I can't describe. Because that's it. I'm not offended, but I'm confused. I'm definitely confused. Fucking confused.
Yeah, no, totally. That's what I mean.
Like,
to me, it totally. If I didn't think less of the whole, like, I don't know, various other bureaucracy setups I've seen in the country, I would be like, they have absolutely not realized that breakdancing is in the Olympics this year. And like, with 10 minutes to fucking, they needed to put someone in, they went, oh fuck, like, does anyone know anyone? Someone's gone, this person has a PhD in breakdancing and they've gone, sick, must be all right, put her in. Like, that's the only way I can fathom that they've actually done this. Like, there's no way.
There was the Olympic trial.
Which competition?
There has to be a trial.
I thought she was the only breakdancer in Australia. The competition was just her then.
No.
I
said that part of her story is that at one point she was the only female breakdancer in Australia. I'm like,
Come on, really?
She just wasn't. Like, I mean, like,
the fact that she made the Olympics, like, here I am sort of going through it in my head. I'm like, maybe. Because if that is a representation, if that's a representation of the top of the skill set in female breaking in Australia, then like that would make sense to me that the culture did die that much. I'm suspect that it did. I don't have my finger on the pulse. Here's how, like, because this I think is why it affected me particularly. Like, cringy stuff is hard to watch. I think even high performance breaking, it's just not my thing. I'm not judging. If you're into it, I hope this doesn't offend you. But if you find like surfing cringe, I understand that. Even good breaking flirts with being cringe. I respect the athleticism, skill, dedication. I just don't want to watch it even when it's good. But when it was that bad, it was like, fuck. It was a jarring palate cleanser from a lot of other aspects of the Olympics.
I just want like a breakdancer to break it down. Like, oh, this is what she's doing. This is why it's cool. Like, have we seen that? Like, are we?
Yeah, I saw a few spokespeople from the community. They were American people who were really into breaking, and they were sort of saying the same things about how they understood that, like, you need people to be advocates for breaking and it needs to be communicated that it's accessible. It's just that the Olympic platform is not the place to prioritize communicating. Like, a big
100%.
part of it is to inspire people to compete in sport, but it's more in an aspirational way, as in, like, you might need to go on a journey to get here. Not like, look, this could be you. Is this fucking relatable? I found it too relatable.
I think the sport shouldn't have that much nuance if it's in the Olympics. People should look at it and be like, fuck, that's cool. I don't need an explanation or anything like that.
Like, I mean, we have
like
this isn't the first, like, highly subjective sport that they're brought into it. Like, there's a lot. I don't want to speak out of turn. I know there's a relatively heavy degree of subjectivity in things like gymnastics.
But
maybe
still, like
not
you
so,
look
but
at that and you're like,
especially
fuck.
surfing. And surfing's also a recent addition, which the surfing was also crazy. So can I talk about the surfing for a little bit as well? Other than destroying one of the natural wonders of the world, partially, they didn't completely destroy the reef at Tahiti, but they definitely took a few chunks out of that beautiful reef that we'll never get back. And there's probably several other threats to it, and it's probably already protected. Anyway, shout out to the IOC for that one. We've had contests at that break for fucking years without too much destruction to the reef. IOC just did an absolute number on that thing. It should be talked about. They need to be shamed over that. But, and I was like, why are they doing it in Tahiti? They've got good beach breaks in France, and they do, but they don't break like Chopu. It was insane. It was so big. And this was the thing, it's such a heavy wave when it's really big, and Tahiti is so open to massive swell. So I was like, are we going to see someone who's like the surfing equivalent of Ray Gun die? This was also something that passed through my head, just comparing it to the surfing. My reaction to Ray Gun is almost similar to what would have happened if, for example, try and think of a country that doesn't have much of a well-known surfing culture. Because like Chinese surfing culture is actually a little bit more developed than I gave it credit for. But that was one of the nations I was just like, oh my God, are we going to see a Chinese person having a go at maxing chopes? Again, yeah, and if they died, hypothetically, I would be like, fuck, IOC probably should have protected that person, or even that person. Like, what were they thinking going out in that? But then I guess if like the country's like, you got to represent us out there. But yeah, shout out Jack Robinson. He just got second. I was so hopeful that he'll clinch the gold. Mainly, I don't care about Jack Robinson winning the Olympics. It's just, Jack Robinson. We haven't had an Aussie win the world title in surfing in, was it Joel Parker or Mick Fanning? It was one of them, and it was well over a decade ago. And just Australia is just outside of the Kelly Slater era, where he just won a whole like fucking 11 in the space of 17 years. So there was a lot of American dominance. But even in amongst that, other than Andy Irons, who's Hawaiian, or tech under the American banner, it was just Aussies just nailing all those world titles. Haven't won one in ages. We've got Jack Robinson, who is like someone who, when he was 8 years old, people were like, this is the next, not Kelly Slater, because we'd already had John. We'd already had so many, this is the next Kelly Slaters, but John was the next person I would say that really delivered on that promise, not only in a skill set, but also delivering in competition. He didn't get 11 world titles, he got 2 world titles, but John also had a lot worse luck with injuries, whatever, luck, however you want to read it, maybe worse load management, doing too much free surfing or whatever. And obviously, he hasn't retired yet. John could still win a couple. And John is on an absolute tear. And what I've been dying to see, there's been also, just to add a bit of context, there's been so much Brazilian dominance. So many like Felipe Toledo, Italo Ferreira, Gabriel Medina. And it's like, this is something that growing up, we saw coming. Like, because when I was growing up, Brazilian surfers, they weren't present yet on the World Surfing Tour, but on the junior series, they were winning fucking everything. And so that's sort of what's been arrived this last sort of decade. Shout out to Adriano de Souza, was the guy who kicks that off, passed the torch to Gabby Medina, and then Felipe Toledo is the guy now. But also Italo Ferreira snuck in a world title in that mix, and the last Olympic medal. So Jack Robinson, he's only been on the tour. This is his 3rd or 4th year on tour, and it takes a couple of years to figure it out because it is a new experience, competitive surfing at the highest level. And he was looking so good last year, but then he had an injury, had to take basically half the year off. So that ended his world title campaign. And he's looking really good this year, but so's John. And I feel like John just sort of knows that, like, John, he's not old. Like, Kelly surfed competitively into his fucking 50s. It can be done. But just because John has just had so many, like, really serious injuries, I'm wondering how his later competitive surfing will look with that sort of really intense schedule. Whereas, so mate, like, he would be fucking hard to beat this year. Hard to beat, but hopefully our boy Jack can do it. Jack was winning in the early stages. There's one event left, so we've got Fiji, and then they get the top 5, and then they will compete at trestles in a head-to-head format. So it used to just be sort of like the F1 or like the EPL, just whoever won the most points throughout the whole season. but now they actually have a head-to-head finals format at Trestles, which is really high-performance beach break. So where they're going now, they're heading to Fiji, surfing a break, cloud break. It's sort of just like, it can get hectic like Chopes, but think of it as a less intense, longer version, a little bit friendlier. But my mates were actually over in Fiji for a wedding earlier this year, and they surfed it, and they're like, it absolutely sliced their shit up. The groom actually thought he was going to die out there the day after his wedding. So yeah, but yeah, so that should be pretty entertaining. And Jack and John, they have similar fucking strengths, which is basically every aspect of surfing. But
Are they
what
both
separates
Aussies?
them from a lot of other guys? No, so John's Hawaiian. John
okay.
is like I said, John and Jack, generational talents in terms of their surfing. So Felipe Toledo and Gabriel Medina. Italo Ferreira is still maybe not in that conversation necessarily, but so, and this is like, there's heaps of racism in surfing, which is really interesting. I mean, there's localism. So of course there's fucking racism in surfing, where a lot of people hate the Brazilian surfers and be like, Brazilians. There was an article in an Australian surfing magazine which they had to issue an apology for. This was like last year. They're like, are Brazilians ruining pro surfing? And the whole premise of the article was that they were winning a lot. And then the next day they're like, we didn't know that was racist. Sorry.
Oh, jeez.
Which, oh, geez, you fucking idiots. Surfers are the biggest dickheads. We've explained why that is before. But so because I feel bad because like I get bored, not because they're bad surfers, but like it's interest. There is a difference in the surfing culture at the pro level in Brazil. And there might be like, I don't want to read into it too much and speak out of turn. Well, I am actually. I'll just explain sort of how I perceive it. They're just serious about competitive surf. Well, it's also the timing of the industry as well. Like there's a lot less money in the surf industry. It's harder now to have a free surfing career. You used to just be able to do off sponsorship money and making surf movies. Now it's kind of like you have to be an influencer. You have to try to have your own YouTube channel and stuff like that. Or you just try the hard competitive route and there's no time to focus on free surfing and just doing sick clips and stuff like that. You're entirely focused on the tour. You don't want to go like traveling on a surf trip and get injured and stuff like that. They still do a little bit of it. But the Brazilians, like, they're never making movie parts. They're never going on trips to get sick free surfing clips and stuff like that. It's just tour events and getting the reps in at home. They're so competition oriented with all their professional surf. And I think for a lot of them, again, it's just like
and that
the
works
easiest
better
way
for
they
them?
sort of see to make money. No, but that's again a lot of what people don't like about the business, because like competition surfing, it's like you are trying to do high performance progressive maneuvers, but ultimately it's just more conservative than your free surfing because you've got to actually fucking land something. Whereas when you're making clips for a movie, it's just like, well, how many surfs are you willing to go for? How long are you willing to float out there? Whereas in a heat, the format is 30 minutes and you've got to lock in 2 really good scores. So, and so that's why Brazilians get criticized for being more repetitive with their surfing. And it's like, no, it's like we only see them, we're only most exposed to them in a repetitive format. If you only saw Ethan Ewing's fucking comp surfing or Jack Robinson's free surfing or John's comp surfing, you would think the same things about him. Oh man, yeah, because that's it. Felipe Toledo, and that's the thing. It is just bullshit and people just wanting a way to hate Brazilians, because when you look at the bullshit that Felipe Toledo is laying down in comps, he will, like a surfboard, it's so much harder to ollie a fucking surfboard than a skateboard. Skating's mad. I'm not disrespecting skating.
Ollie
There's
is
a reason they do
surfboard?
way more hectic aerial maneuvers. I'm talking ollie a surfboard off the lip, 10 feet in the fucking air, doing a full 360. And landing that and just seamlessly going into another turn. Like he's doing that shit and like,
he's doing the Christ
compared to the no one's done a Christ daring. Did you bring that up because you know it's been done?
No, because it's a skateboard maneuver.
So, no, a surfer did a Christ air. Shout out to Mason Ho. Mason Ho, he got the last section in Snapped 4, which is available free on YouTube. If you want to see some sick surf movies, get into fucking watching surfing. Modern ones. I can give you some old fucking throwbacks, but go watch the Snap series. So Snapped 3 has one of the best soundtracks of any fucking surf movie I've ever watched. But Mason Ho got the final section because they give away $100,000 prize for, you go film your own sections. Obviously, you got to be good to sort of qualify or to get invited to make a section for this movie. But then whoever has the best section, that goes last. And Mason Ho, his whole section was good. But the last wave, he did a cry stare on a surfboard.
Fucking hell. How the fuck would you land that? That's ridiculous.
Just disgusting. I didn't see it coming. Like, people have done kickflips.
Was it a quick one, like, and then...
Yeah, it was. He put it out to the side of him. It wasn't just a little like, I'm going to take my feet off an inch. It was a cry stare. If I saw that in the wild, I mean, even like seeing a surfer, I've seen, including myself, and I've been in town when there's like a pro event in town. I've seen probably less than 100 airs in the surf in my life.
Oh wow! I didn't know it was that rare.
5 of those have been mine. I mean, that's a big thing for me. How I'm looking to progress my surfing currently is just do more airs and shit. I've never done a grab. I've just done a little like Napoleon Dynamite air a couple of times. Probably got like a foot of air, maybe. Verified by my mates, got one on the GoPro. But my whole goal, like one of my 140 clean and jerk equivalent on the surfboard, I just want to land an air reverse, which is like you go off the lip and you rotate 180 degrees, but you do it with some sort of grab. It's not going to be a fucking steezy stale fish or anything like that first time, but
stale fish. Oh, what a move.
But that's what I mean. Like the good guys now are doing like steezy snowboard style grabs, whereas the grabs, when I was growing up, like aerial surfing emerged as I was growing up. When I grew up, so people were just starting to do airs because obviously surf culture started to influence skate culture, right, in its early emergence. But then the relationship reversed when modern skate became a thing. They were like doing airs and stuff like that. Then surfers were like, oh, maybe we could have a crack at that. But again, like pushing along the concrete and ollieing a skateboard versus having to catch a wave, be like, what's this thing going to fucking do? Like a living fucking ramp. It's much harder to predict. And then this huge, like surfboards are a high-performance surfboard, especially back then, they hadn't worked out how to tailor surfboards for like aerial surfing. So they were like 2 meters of foam and it's like fucking 60 centimeters wide. Just getting the thing in the air is like,
do you have to get
so
onto the back
work.
of the board to pop it up or nah?
So you've got to go up the lip and almost like push the board into the wind like a sail. And you also so people will do something called a nose pick. And because you can also like bust the fins out, like smack the lip so hard that your fins throw out. And then the nose of your board's stuck in the wave and you can use that as a pivot point. But at a certain point, you're so in there. That's not really an air. That's a nose pick again. That's like a different thing. But it's a similar sort of concept you're trying to create. Like, it's so hard to keep the board on your fucking feet. It's
crazy.
Anyway, go watch Snap 4. Go to the end of it if you can't wait around for the whole thing and just watch the end of Mason Ho's section because, I mean, even just, I remember one time I was surfing out the pass in Byron Bay. A guy just went past me on a wave. I was like, fuck, there's an air section coming up. It was absolutely ripping and just sun was setting. Just saw the guy just into the fucking air, big grab and a rotation. I'm like, fuck, I just want to be that guy. Just the sickest cunt. I think about how cool I think it is and then like doing that like to other people. I mean, no one's going to let you know.
Are you that far
so
off?
You never compliment anyone on their surfing because every surfer's a fucking cunt. But did I tell you someone complimented me on my surfing in New Zealand?
Oh, nah.
That's when I knew that everyone had been talking shit about how mean the locals were in Raglan. No one's ever said, other than my closest fucking mates, no one will ever tell you you're ripping. Someone came up to me in the car park and was like, you were fucking ripping out there. I was in complete fucking shock. I never expected anyone to, even because I was fucking ripping. I mean, I've got the fucking cam footage, but the fact that someone said it,
it would have hit better in New Zealand, surely. Instead
the culture is completely different over there. It's completely different to any other surfing community. I'm telling you, like, people don't say that. Anyway, sorry for talking about surfing for so long. Thanks for the support on the early support on the launch of the book. I just I was so excited about launching this thing that I got too excited and then I put it off for a couple of days because I set expectations in my head for how I wanted it to go, like in terms of sales by the end of the year. But then thinking about like, okay, once I've chosen my goal, like working out what that should look like in terms of early signs that we might actually achieve that goal. And then I got intimidated by the goal that I set, and then I didn't put it out for 2 days. And then I put it out, and it exceeded what I put together in my head as the early signs that I would need to see to reach our end of year goal. And I really set the goal up there. I thought I did. And it's still like we have work to do. And I don't know, this isn't really a sales, but yeah, like I said, just thank you for the early support. It's been very exciting. If we hit our goal, I'm taking Jacob and Harvey to Bali. So all you cunts,
Woo!
Jeremy Borzillo, fucking Connor, I don't know if Sam talks about it, but like, give Jacob a pay rise. And then I know that's not a pay rise, but I mean, I'm grinding for it.
I also need to lift my weight
Use
too,
those people I just named, buy the book, because that is going to get Jacob to Bali. We are. We're gonna chop this goal down, and we're gonna get so many people started on their content creation journey, and the trickle down effect of this book and the awesome training ideas that are going to get shared and the impact it's going to have on coaches' businesses. I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid so hard right now. We got to cut me off. This is dangerous. Anyway, thank you to everyone who makes this possible.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you in Bali.
If you want access to a community of like-minded coaches, head to the notes below and join our free school community. I'm in there every week doing Q&As, and there's plenty of educational content on the way as well.